Hey guys, Jim from Measure Square here. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick but thorough walkthrough of doing a commercial clean and maintenance takeoff, as we would call it. So you'll see I have Measure Square open to a blank screen. I have my commercial cleaning database already preloaded here that you can fully edit yourself. And what I will do to start off is I'm going to add a couple of these quote unquote products or cleaning surface areas down to my project item list so I can edit these without affecting my master database, if you will. So I'm just going to do a couple quick, simple examples. I'm going to drop this yellow one down by right-clicking, hitting Add to Project Item List. And then I'm going to go to, we'll use this blue one as well. So I'll just do carpet for this example, but you can read everything I do here can be tailored to any product or surface type that you need to do. And basically the reason I'm doing this is that I want to keep my project items specific for this job down here, but I can always pull from them at the top. And if I need to create something from scratch, I will just use this plus icon right here to make it myself. Now, we'll use the color codes as a reference to the frequency that this surface needs to be cleaned per year. So I'll do a very simple example. I'm going to use this blue as a, let's say, twice a year. So I'm going to right click, go to view modify, and then in the description area, I will put FREQ equals, let's do twice a year for blue. So frequency of 2. And obviously you can name this however you prefer. Hit save. Let's do yellow. We'll do frequency of 6. And then maybe we will do one more. So let's say I want to do red for frequency of 12. So we want to clean it once a month. So 12 times per year. I'm going to add this one as well. Right click, view modify, and you'll see where I can hit new product as well if I just want to create something from scratch. And again, you can kind of tailor this to however you prefer to put out a bid or name things. Plenty of different ways to do this if you would like. All right, so every time I do this, I'm going to hit save at the bottom as well. So it's saved now. And then the purpose of this is just as internal reference and also for the quote or bid that we'll build at the end through Measure Square if you happen to be doing it through our software. So now I'm going to go to import at the top left. I'm going to find the set of plans or PDF or image that I was sent of the floor plan. Double click on it. And then I can just ignore this screen. You'll be fine. Click OK. And this is where we need to set the scale first. So that's really the most important part of this menu is setting the scale. If the scale is listed on the screen, let's say a 1/4 inch or an 1/8, I can just hit the drop down on the top left and select it from here. In this case, it doesn't have one, but I have a dimension line. So we have a second method of setting scale, which will be picking 2 points, which will be the ends of this 50-foot dimension line. I'll input 50 feet. It will scale the image off of that. If I don't have a dimension line, but let's say I know this is a 3-foot door, I can click those 2 points, say 3 feet, and that's my scale. So very important to get our numbers correct. So I'll left click on here, single left click, just slide my mouse over. I'm not holding anything down. Left click again, type in 50 feet, hit OK. See the image jump, knowing that it's scaled. Use my dimension line tool at the top here to double check just to make sure. And we'll see 50-foot 1 inch. So I might have gone a little bit too far over. If I want to adjust that, I can just rescale it. For this example, that'll be good enough for me. Bottom right, import to current tab. And now I have it on my takeoff screen. Now we're going to start by tracing out our rooms. This is what we have to do after we import. This will basically create the containers for us to put our products in to get the square footage for each of those individual carpet cleaning surface types. So right when we trace a room out, it will automatically create the square footage of the room. Then when we apply our products, we'll get the square foot of those individually. So I'll go through and trace these all out and show you some shortcuts to leverage our takeoff software that commercial users will generally use to do this as fast as possible with great accuracy. So I'm going to click on the draw tool at the top left, zoom in to this room, and I'm going to left click at the top I'm going to left click at the top left and then hold down my mouse. So my button is held down, drag to the bottom right. Once I line it up, let go, and it'll trace out that room. I have a crosshatch turned on, as we call it, to show that I've traced the room, but nothing's been applied to it yet. So now I'll move on to the next one. And when you see those lines pop up, as I do right now, those little green highlights, I'm snapping to the room drawn next to it so that everything's lined up, and this will help us in auto-completing the hallway in this usage scenario. Again, I'm always just left-clicking on each corner and dragging to the opposite side. So I'm going to do all these basic shapes. Now, I'm doing individual rooms because that's how we normally would handle it in as far as doing a takeoff for estimating, because we need to make sure we get all the walls for our base. Now, if that doesn't matter to you guys as much, and you can basically say, hey, these are all, let's say, men's restrooms right here. I don't care about this individual wall. You can just skip that wall and draw as a bigger area if you're applying the type as the same. So if the frequency is going to be the same for these rooms, you can kind of bundle them together as far as speed goes. So I'm going to take that approach and just drag some of these areas as bigger. Now, if you end up finding out that, hey, I actually need to apply a different frequency or type to these rooms, we can always draw a wall down the middle here where the wall is on the plan to split that up into a separate area. So we can easily make those adjustments after the fact. So I'm going to draw these out. And now when we get to the more quote unquote odd shaped rooms like this, we'll do single clicks to accomplish that. So I'm just going to do the basic shapes first, which is generally a best practice for us. And I'm doing more of the outside rooms first because I don't want to go through and click through all this hallway area. So the way I'm doing this will make it go much faster by being able to use our autocomplete tool, which is very helpful. So again, I'm snapping to each room when I see those green highlights. That's a good thing. I'll left click and hold when I see those to start drawing. So you see, done most of my main areas. I got this big hallway that winds around, and then I got this more odd shaped room. So for this odd shaped room, again, snapping to the corner. Now I'm just left click, come down here, snap onto that room, left click so it's nice and lined up, and just left click on these turns. Get back here. And this is an example of our autocomplete. That purple line means I can right click on my mouse and autocomplete that room. So now, with the way our autocomplete works is basically when everything's connected, it will see a path and be able to finish it for us. So we see here, we have a gap in a wall right here, and we have a gap in a wall down here. So, but all these walls are connected because we snapped them together. So what I'm going to do, if there's just one gap here, we can just draw a wall across there, auto completes the room. But since I have a bit of a gap over here, a bit of a gap right here, and just this one up here, I'm going to make a sacrificial room. And I'm going to snap. Actually, let me do that one more time. I'm going to make a room right here. So I'm going to left click by snapping onto those walls. And I'll just draw a quick rectangle. I'm just going to end up deleting this in the end. But I do want to make sure this is nice and lined up. So now that's lined up. Draw tool again. And I'm just going to see what would be the least amount of areas I need to draw here. So if I start here, trace this out a bit, get back up here, that should be the end of it for me. So I'm going to left click here, left click, snap on this wall, make sure I'm tracing this on top of it, which is very easy using those little light up signifiers for us. And again, if it's hard to tell, you can always zoom in using your scroll wheel to get closer. And now if I did this correctly, when I get back up here, we'll see a purple line, which we do. So that purple line sees a complete path. It's like completing a circuit. And because I drew this one up here, it can go right through here and not stop. If I didn't draw that, I have to keep on tracing. So now when I right click, I have the whole hallway and I'm done tracing the rooms. Now I just have to go up here to this room and I can literally move this by left click and holding and dragging it away, but this wall stays because these walls were just overlapping. Each room has its own set of walls. So I can just go here, hit delete, and that was my sacrifice room. Now let's say there's an example where I do need to split this area up here. So let's say I need to draw a wall here. Let's say the mechanical room is probably going to be different than exam room 5. I'm going to go to the room edit, draw a wall, and then just highlight again on the edge, I'm going to draw down the middle of this one compared to all these rooms we drew in the inside of the wall. So wall to wall, this with the draw tool will be down the middle, left click, snap to the other side, left click, and now that's split up. So when I left click on it, you'll see it highlight red versus that one will highlight red individually. So now our next step is apply our products. So, hallway, I'm going to say, hey, that's probably high frequency, right? So I'm going to left click on this guy to select it, left click and hold to drag it over. And as I highlight different rooms, they'll highlight turquoise. Once I let go, we'll drop it in. And now we're actually getting a quantity, as we can see right here, for that red hallway. Then I can just apply this to any other room I need to as well. Now, I'm not going to exactly go through and add the exact ones just for the sake of time on where they belong, just to give us an example. So I'm going to grab the blue one instead, drop in some other areas as well. All right, and then right click to deselect a tool or product. Grab this yellow one, left click and hold to drag, drop into these other rooms so we can have some different types. So now as we look, here's our quantities. Now our last step before we build our quote and then create a report is I need to tell the software to duplicate these rooms according to the frequency that I listed in here. So if I remember correctly, if I go right click, view modify on the red, you'll say frequency of 12. So I want my quantity to be multiplied by 12. And this will be helpful when we have our pricing here, as we see 12 cents per square foot for cleaning, 12 as well, and 12 as well. Now, obviously, you can edit these pricing to whatever you need. These are just simple examples. So now I just need to duplicate these rooms. So if you don't see your product panel on the right side, just double click and it'll always bring it up. So we'll see we have a duplication line right here. So I'm going to go type in 12, hit enter, and then you'll see the room says multiplied by 12. Click on the next room, type in 12, hit enter, and then just rinse and repeat. So very simple. Click on the hallway. I can actually just add a 2. That's 12, hit enter as even a quicker shortcut. Now, so it looks like I got all my red ones done, and right click on blue to double check my frequency of 2. So now I can just click on the blue rooms, hit 2, enter, 2, enter. And this is a benefit if you draw these areas as one. Let's say you have 2 rooms that are the same right next to each other. You can probably just draw it as one room, and then there's less duplications to add in here. Now, if you're doing this in an Excel format later on, you may not have to do this part if you're building out your quote in Excel and would rather do the frequency through there. So there is some leeway on how you can do this. Everyone may have a different style. All right, now for the yellow, I believe that was a 6. All right, so click on the yellow rooms, type in 6. Again, you can always verify that you've done this because you'll see the times 6, for example, right next to the room name through right there. And you can easily rename the rooms or even create your own naming scheme through our system settings as well. All right, so now that I got that done, we can double check everything. We can just see how my room names right now are actually product A13, product A9. So that can easily be changed by clicking down here, clicking on the area or room, changing the name on the right side over here. You can even make your own pre-populated names to drop them in as well. So then our next step will be to generate a quick quote or proposal. So for this, we'll go to worksheet at the top left, hit new, and I'm going to do a quotation. And then I just need to do this by room or area. So it depends which one we want to do. I'll do by area, click OK, and then we'll see our area, which is basically our rooms, times 12 times 12. So that quantity is being multiplied across here. Now, if you have a Excel bid template that you'd like to use yourself and edit the data on your own, just click export to Excel, and then this will all export in this exact format. And you can even right click on these columns to hide them if you don't want those to be exported as well. So you can format this yourself. This version right here is kind of a form of Excel Lite. We can easily edit these areas ourselves by double clicking on them. So if I need to edit any things myself, I can go ahead and override those from this menu. You'll see we have some tools at the top up here where we can add something from scratch, add something from the database manually, reorganize them, add any markups if we have cost and sales in here, and things of that nature. Now on the right side over here, this is where you can add in your own bill to ship to info for the customer. You can add your own tax rates. You can add your cost. You'll see your cost and sales breakdown, the tax amount, any freight discount or deposits you may want to note in here. And then you'll see your total down here. And then this instructions is for any legalities you may want to put in. If you hit this drop down, hit manage a list, this is where you can actually add your own for future use, so you don't have to keep typing them in. You can actually copy and paste from a document if you have it, if you would prefer. Now, once this is all done, you can go to print form at the top here. And then from here, you'll see a quick breakdown of, here's the main floor or tab that we're working on, and then each area or room with the frequency type for each one. And then I have a sub per room section for each one at this, for this particular example. Scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see the material, labor, tax, total, and then you can even get a signature on here if you wanted to. Now, depending on what you want to see here, you can easily go to printers and settings at the top left. This is where you can choose your printer and your paper size, depending if you're printing this out to a physical printer or just saving this as a PDF. I have it set up to save it as a PDF using the MeasureSquare printer. So when I hit print at the top left, it will save it in the exact format we see here. If you want to add in your own company logo and company tagline and address and things like that, this options tab, you can just enter it right here, upload your own logo, and it will stay there permanently. You don't have to do this every time. Now, depending what I want to see here, I can go to miscellaneous. This will show the header on each one if you choose, but then I can go to form, and then you can turn off some of these views if you choose. Let's say you don't want to show a quantity, for example, to the customer. Maybe you don't want to have them be able to shop this around if you're worried about that. I can turn off the quantity, and then they'll just see the price. So you'll notice that since we put in the frequency of 12 to the description, it will show up right here as well. So very easy to tell. So again, once I'm done with this, I can just hit print, and then you'll actually get a pop-up to save this locally. Now, if you just want to print out a diagram of what we just did right here, and maybe we want to add a color-coded legend, click on legend back in the takeoff screen, click OK. Just add that to the side right here, left click and hold and move it around. If I want to add any notes to make this a little bit more obvious, I can always hit note and say clean every month, for example. And I can easily save this to a list, so I can add this in every time from this drop-down menu. You don't have to retype it. Click OK. And then let's say I'll just add this to the side over here. I can even move this to the left, or sorry, to the right. Add a little arrow, so a little bit easy to see. So you can mark this up as well. And then I can just go to File, go to Print. Now we'll have a lot of options in here that you probably won't need. So if I just want to just print out this diagram only, and then let's say I want to print out that quote as well, I can basically turn all of these things off. And then I'll click OK. These are technically off because the higher up checkbox is turned off as a hierarchy. Click OK. And then we'll see our diagram right here. We'll even see a 3D view of it, and I'll show you how to share that 3D view as an interactive web link. And then we'll have our quote at the end. And again, you can turn off and on certain things for this menu by going back up to your printers and settings and toggling those on and off. Again, I'm going to close this now, and I'll show you how to upload this to your cloud to then share this with anyone if they want to have a little bit more interactive map. If the cleaning crew at night needs something a little bit better than a flat PDF, or maybe they forgot it, they can always grab that 3D link very easily. So as a quick preview, when I hit View 3D, we can easily see the work we did in a 3D view. So very helpful to get more visual look of what we're doing. So now I'm going to go to Save, which is definitely something we should do periodically. So I'm going to just save this locally here. Good. I'll save this to my desktop so I know where it is. Hit Save. And now I'm going to go open a new browser down here, and I'm going to go to cloud.measuresquare.com. Every time you create a MeasureSquare ID, this is where you can log in to see your license, to see your projects if you have them uploaded to our cloud, which is very helpful to share with this 3D version. So I'm going to click sign in. So you'll sign in with your own credentials. Big surprise, my email is jim@measuresquare.com if you have any questions. And this is basically the view you'll see. So we're going to add a tab to the software in the near future where you don't even have to use a web browser. You'll be able to do this directly in the software. But for now, log into this website, go to upload, select files, and I'm just going to go to my desktop and find the file we just saved. Office, second floor, click open. It's going to upload it real quick, upload successfully, and we'll see it right here. And now we'll have some options under 3D viewer, and you can share. If I just click on viewer, it's going to launch me to the next web page, or I can do a web page without the quantities. And then this is where we can copy the links to then email someone else, text them, save it in a document, whatever it may be. Again, you do not need a MeasureSquare license to view this viewer. Your mom or dad or your brother can easily open this. So anyone who just has an internet connection and a web browser, so your phone, tablet, computer, anyone can view this. Click viewer, and then this will open up into our viewer. So depending on your internet connection, that's how long it will take to load. And we have basically a top-down view like we saw in our software. So now if I left click with my mouse, I can easily rotate this and get a more interaction with the area. If I left click on a room, you'll see the details on the right side, just like a property view from the desktop software. So we can easily get a more customizable view depending how we need to look at this out in the field or basically on any device. We have some view options on the top left. If I just want a flat 2D view, I can easily turn that on versus 3D. If I want to show the blueprint behind it, I can turn that on as well in case there's some pertinent information on that. And then if I just want to see the floor plan without our takeoff, I can just do hide for this one and just see that PDF. So essentially that turned into a PDF viewer for us as well. I'll turn that right back on. And again, if I want to share this with someone, we even have a copy project view link on the bottom left in this view. If you have multiple tabs, you can view them from hitting the drop down at the top. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see other takeoff videos as well. We have plenty of tools for our commercial version. If any of those tools may come into play for you guys using this for commercial clean and maintenance. If you have any questions, feel free to email MeasureSquare at support@measuresquare.com, and we'll be happy to get back to you as quick as we can. You can also call into our support line as well that's listed on our website. That number is 626-683-9188 if you have any questions. Thank you again and have a great day.